In this segment, Stephanie Miller talked Tucker Carlson. What really got him fired? What will be his legacy at Fox News? What are people in, of all places, Russia, saying about his shocking termination? Here's Stephanie.
Okay. By the way, somebody said amazingly they did not wait until the end of the Bob Cesca show to announce Tucker's firing, and you said the universe is on my side this week. Us too. Mm-hmm. I was not on vacation. It happened while Allison Gill was here in hour 3. It was very exciting.
Right?
Yeah, technically, I tricked the universe because I actually was doing a podcast right before that news dropped. It just wasn't my podcast. So the universe is like, oh, look, Cesca's doing a podcast, and we're going to drop some big news right after it. Ha-ha. And it turns out, ha-ha, to you, universe. It wasn't my show. It was another show. It was a show called Friends from Work with Rick Shue and Freakbase, and we were talking about comic book movies.
Yeah,
so
yes, I can't wait to listen because you tweeted, here's my eulogy for Tucker Carlson. By eulogy, I mean relentless trolling, which I can't wait to listen to your show.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So, your initial thoughts when you heard this.
Oh, I was so sad.
So sad.
It's such a shame. Yeah, I called for sending Tucker Carlson pictures of luggage and black roses. I think that might be a pro. Since he's got to move out of his office, why not help him out by sending him some luggage? It couldn't happen to a better person, right?
Yeah.
I mean, the guy's proven duplicitous. He says one thing off the air, says another thing on the air. And that, I think, indicates the centerpiece, other than, the bigotry and white supremacy. One of the centerpieces of Tucker Carlson's thing is he's an empty vessel into which all varieties of disinformation and awfulness can be pumped by a writer's room or, newsroom. So I think with Tucker Carlson all along, he's just been this mouthpiece for the worst nonsense and disinformation that we've heard, whether it's anti-masking, anti-vaxxing, whether it's white supremacy, replacement theory, just flagrant racism.
Yeah.
This is all, Tucker has no core values. Tucker will say whatever you ask him to say. It's like, he's like Ron Burgundy. Whatever shows up on the teleprompter, he's going to say say those words.
Yeah. Go
that's him.
Yourself, San Diego. That was his sign off would have been had he been given a last show.
Yeah. I'm surprised that never happened with Tucker because no one ever pranked him with the teleprompter, and they should have while he was still there.
Yeah. It's and also just Russian talking points. You said I bet Glenn Greenwald's agent is on the phone with Fox News lobbying for Tucker's time slot. I mean, it's and that's the other thing. They can replace him very easily. Mm-hmm. They could stick Brian Kilmeade in there and give him the same things that Tucker Carlson would have said, write the same script. In fact, whatever they had prepped for Monday night, they can just reuse that whenever they get the next person in, because the next person who comes in is going to be another soulless drone who can be filled with all of this Fox News nonsense, this agenda-driven, far-right MAGA ridiculousness. I don't think. Tucker Carlson wasn't as bad as Bill O'Reilly. A lot of people are saying that whoever's replacing Tucker is going to be worse than Tucker. Right.
But I think Tucker wasn't nearly as awful as Bill O'Reilly was. Bill O'Reilly was a terrible, terrible person. And he said terrible things in that time slot.
That's kind of a toss-up
and as
for
bad
me.
as Tucker is, not nearly that bad.
Yeah, well, you actually speculated on Twitter, wow, I wonder if this firing was part of the settlement, the Dominion settlement.
Yeah, it's possible. I think it's the direction this is heading in has more to do with that C word, which, by the way, just give you a bit of a guest tip here, I would talk to Cliff Schecter. Cliff Schecter is someone said the C word expert, because he did a book in 2008 about John McCain.
Yeah.
And the big breaking news from Cliff Schecter's book about John McCain was that he called his wife the C word.
Oh, wow.
And so it was so much fun that whole election year, seeing Cliff Schecter on all the news shows promoting his book and talking about how John McCain called his wife the C word. So
wow.
He's the guy. He's your man for the C word conversation.
All right. We will the C as in Cliff. We will have the C word on again very soon. I loved you, as many people did. You responded to Marjorie Taylor Greene on Twitter. She said, how are Democrat voters okay with this? Your own party's telling you have no choice, and they refuse to even give you a choice. They should just go ahead and call themselves the Democrat Communist Party. About no primary debates, and you said, what did you say? The incumbent party never holds primary debates, ding dong. Trump in 2020, for example. I mean, I just said this yesterday. She does just zero research before she shoots her mouth off, right? Sure. And she's constantly making a fool of herself.
Well, I mean, this doesn't even require research. There's never debates. There's never primary debates when there's an incumbent president running for re-election. Donald Trump in 2020, as I wrote in that tweet. So this is one of those things where I'm not sure what she's doing. Either she's just a phenomenal idiot, which is the Occam's razor solution to all of this, or she's deliberately doing this to extend her social media reach. Because I don't know if that's actually Marjorie Taylor Greene posting that stuff. Like with Donald Trump, a lot of times it was Dan Scavino. There may be some other person doing Marjorie Taylor Greene's tweets for her and saying all of these ridiculous things that have no bearing in reality.
Yeah. Well, by the way, speaking of, Trump now is saying he's not going to debate.
Yeah.
Even if they, obviously he's not the incumbent. Well, he doesn't. Well, he thinks so. But anyway. Right. And then you were talking about the Ron DeSantis bobblehead, freak out when they just asked him about poll numbers. And you just said, I've been saying for a year DeSantis would crumble on the national stage like this. And you have. Yeah. You have.
And there he is. There he is crumbling on television. Yeah, that was, you know what? These days, I'm surprised it's actually affecting him at all.
Yeah.
I'm surprised people are even noticing that because, well, Donald Trump, for however many years we had to deal with him, 7 years and more now, doing things far worse than Ron DeSantis looking odd and awkward for a couple of minutes. But that was one of those things that I think will contribute to the fact that Republicans just aren't going to get on board with this guy. He just doesn't have the heft. He doesn't have the charisma to be able to do this, certainly not to be able to overtake Donald Trump. So the only reason I think Ron DeSantis is keeping one foot in this whole thing is if something happens to Donald Trump. If something happens to Donald Trump, whether it's prison or some sort of health issue or otherwise.
This is our popcorn era. Just, we're watching DeSantis, Tucker go up in flames, Trump probably go to jail.
Yeah.
It's going to be glorious. It's, the joy is in the journey, Bob.
That's right. Hang on tight.
You tweeted, if Elon gave you a blue check mark you don't want and shouldn't want, I'm pretty sure you can delete it yourself. Just change your Twitter handle for a second, then change it back. The check will disappear. It takes no time at all. It is hilarious, right? All these celebrities publicly going, I don't want this thing. Right. Get this effing thing off my Twitter.
Shocking that an Elon Musk business decision would crash and burn the way it has.
Yeah,
that's absolutely what's happening here. He thought he was going to outflank everybody on the Twitter blue thing, and it turns out no one likes you, Elon. No one wants to pay you except Cat Turd. Yeah,
who apparently has stabled his scrotum because Tucker's been fired. To the Diggity song.
Good Lord, do not make bets about Elon Musk where your scrotum is involved.
No, he said if Tucker gets fired, if he ever gets fired, I'll staple my scrotum to where was it?
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
It was Tucker. Okay.
Yeah. Oh,
well, in that case, don't make bets when Fox News is involved. Certainly not Tucker Carlson. Tucker Carlson, the least successful person in cable. He's been fired now by CNN, MSNBC, Fox News. He's probably going to get fired by Newsmax. If he had his own podcast that he controlled, he'd probably get fired from that too somehow.
He'd find a way to do that too. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I just love that other people speak nerd to you on Twitter besides Travis Bone. Because speaking of DeSantis, Allison Gill said, hey, Bob Seska, remember the Trek TOS-I Mud and how the crew confused the main robot Norman until he broke down and smoke came out of his head? That's what I think of when I watch this morning's Ron DeSantis clip. And you just said perfection.